Let's get right to what America is talking about. The sequel begins. 48 hours from now, Donald Trump is going to become president yet again, and he'll do so in his indoor voice. Frigid temperatures are forcing the inauguration inside the Capitol. That's where Ronald Reagan did it back in 1985. He's also going to take the oath before a row of billionaires cheering him on. All of the tech titans, including the new Trump whisperer, Elon Musk, they're all getting plum spots in the inauguration. And they should, since they are literally paying millions for it. For the last couple of months since Trump's inauguration, they've been hitting up Mar-a-Lago, bending the knee, kissing the ring, doing all the things. And they've done everything from pitching a Doge department to cut spending to cutting fact-checking at their news sites. So, what is the reason for all of this? Is it all for influence? Is it for their bottom lines? Is it all for self-preservation? After all, Trump once suggested that Mark Zuckerberg head straight to jail because of Facebook's actions during the campaigns. The sitting president thinks that he knows, and he's sounding the alarm before his exit.
Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy.
I don't want to be naive about this. Look, we've had rich people with a lot of influence for a long time in this country. However, clearly they think something has changed because they didn't do this in 2020. They didn't even do this in 2016. They are now saying it's a race. We've got to all throw the money at Trump because it does matter whether he likes you. It does matter whether you give him money. That will influence the policy. And I think to me, Essie, that is the difference between now and all the other eras in American history, perhaps, that we've seen.
Yeah, there's a really symbiotic relationship now between politics and tech. And I think over time, you know, the tech industry has realized the benefits of being close to political power. There was a resistance at first. I remember I was brought in to Facebook with a bunch of conservatives to try and talk to Mark Zuckerberg and Peter Thiel about how to be more inclusive to conservatives. What, a change a couple of years makes. But that resistance is clearly over now, and they see a real clear benefit in being close to Trump and close to political power.
Yeah, I mean, they used to avoid Washington like a plague.
Trump got this 4-year break, right? So he was the president, and then he's been off for 4 years. And in those 4 years, he developed strong relationships. I think, and don't forget, he seemed to be the front runner for quite some time when Joe Biden was going to be running. So these guys, yeah, it does. Of course, what you're saying is true, right? The president of the United States has an enormous power. These guys need his help. So they're drawn towards him. And he wasn't the president at the time. He wasn't back to back. So he was able to be a citizen and pal around with them. And he's comfortable in that environment. He's comfortable with billionaires because he is a billionaire. But look, if you really follow the money, I believe more billionaires and millionaires gave Biden money and Harris money for their campaigns than gave Trump money. It's just that we know where Beyonce's money comes from. We know where Taylor Swift's money comes from. They're brilliant entertainers. Elon Musk, he's losing money on Twitter. Bezos, okay, we know where his money comes from. It's just a different element, and we feel more comfortable with Taylor Swift than we do with Elon Musk.
I think that the difference isn't actually so much who gives campaign contributions. I think the difference is Trump himself.
That's it.
He's the guy who, he'll just decide on a whim, hey, I want to, TikTok to survive just because he likes it. Yeah. And that's just not
play.
Yeah, we're just not used to the government working that way.
It's this, and he's very mercurial. And the thing is that there was a time, and you can tell me how long ago this was. Remember when he was banned from Twitter? What was then Twitter?
And Facebook.
And Facebook. And then all of a sudden now he's their best friend. But he also sees the benefit of making money and being friends with this guy, because this at the end of the day is about everybody making money. And I know that we want to say it's the political process, but they all are going to get paid. Even though Elon lost all this money, there were reports that he immediately, once Trump became president, made somewhere upwards of, it's just insane.
It was the best bet ever, literally.
And they want to take over the social media site. That's where the power is. Social media can, he's influencing people, and he's smart. So we've got Mark, we've got Elon, we have all the other sites that are working in our interest, and so we're going to control the narrative. And no one in this day and age is really paying attention but to headlines and alternative facts.
And I just got to say, Coca-Cola is getting in on the game. They have this commemorative Diet Coke bottle. that they
Like,
I
really?
know the
You know,
way to his heart.
Yeah.
It's actually not the bottle. The bottle is not the thing because they've given the bottles before, but it's the going down to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, and doing all the
doing
things. Yeah,
the-
I heard they were creating a McTrump meal at McDonald's. I don't know how true that is, but
well.
And it would do numbers. It would do numbers. I just don't. The thing in this whole scenario is that I think we assume that Trump will always have a little bit more of a power dynamic over these billionaires, and I don't think that will always be the case.
Nope.
Elon Musk is in charge of the company that will essentially replace whatever NASA is doing in the current construct. Mark Zuckerberg lost weight and learned martial arts to get that's.
correct.
Is that manipulative? And it's like, how genuine are their intentions in the long run? Because right now it's, we're here to help you make policy versus them turning Trump into the puppet
but
and their
Abby,
do-boy.
I think that's normal. Like in my world, right, as a lawyer, in the courthouse, when the chief administrative judge changes from one administrative judge to the other, you try to curry some favor. You want to get to them. When Roger Ailes left Fox News and Susan came in and take over, they just left to have MSNBC just left. You're going to go in and try to schmooze with the new person because it's Mother Nature.
There's a huge difference, and there's a big difference between Taylor Swift giving money and people with real conflicts of interest. SpaceX is subsidized to the tune of $20 billion. My money, your money. Your money.
But they're getting it
that
done.
conflict, and they're all conflicted, right? The Bezoses, the Zuckerbergs, they're all conflicted.
Explain the conflict.
And Taylor Swift, I don't think, was giving money, or Beyonce giving money to the Harris campaign with an expectation
that her records would sell
her business.
even more.
Hold on. If you don't think Taylor Swift is an enormous business person, you know that's
But
not
you
true.
know that's not
She's
right.
not making billions
What
of
did she
dollars
think
just
Harris was going to do for her music business?
Harris wasn't
Are
going
you
to
kidding me?
greenlight
She's so
Ticketmaster
when you
policies.
get seen,
No, this is a stretch.
like we were talking
This
about
is a
him
stretch.
performing for the
It's stretch.
inauguration. You get seen as the president of the United States, her or him, put your arm around you. Me being on CNN takes me to another level.
I don't know what you're talking about.
This is a good
because these are not the
segue.
same things.
This is a good segue. I mean, Roy, just to be clear, because
So I would do a 10-year salary aggregate of whatever that number is. Just perform, disappear for 10
Okay,
years,
but okay,
come back,
but
learn
Roy-
karate like Zuckerberg, and be like, hey, look, I'm wrong.
different.
what do you think is going on with Snoop is performing? Nelly is performing.
Carrie Underwood.
Carrie Underwood, but I mean, let's just
Carrie
take-
Underwood you get.
Carrie Underwood, it makes sense, but just because Roy pointed this out, he made the point that there's backlash, right? When it comes to Black Americans, for those guys, they're calculating it's not a big enough backlash.
They're a little bit backlash proof, though. Snoop is a tried and true brand, and when you look at the things that Snoop Dogg has done on the philanthropic side of the game in the Black community, you can't say he don't care about us, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Nelly, it's Nelly. You love his music, and you're not really listening to Nelly for his political views anyway.
It's getting hot in here is what
He has
you
a
want.
new baby, so
Yeah, but he has to
That
pay
too.
some bills.
Second baby.
Yeah, but you know what though? There's a precedent for rappers doing this. They're not the first rappers to do it, and they're
50
also
Cent.
men. And so the point being is that they know that if I look down the history of people who did it and in their career survived, there's not going to be an issue.
Trump has also
He thrived.
always wanted Hollywood, the music industry, to be on his side. He just
Yes.
this week surprised some of these folks by naming them as ambassadors to Hollywood. He said they'll serve Jon Voight, Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone. They'll serve as special envoys to me for the purpose of bringing Hollywood, which has lost much business over the last 4 years to foreign countries, back bigger, better, and stronger than before.
To which Mel Gibson said he found out on Twitter like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Didn't even call him first.
Yeah,
But let me just to your point. One of my clients' friends is a kid named Chef G. He's a black kid from the Bronx. He headlined Trump's rally in the Bronx. Since he headlined the Bronx in there, his sales or his hits or whatever you get on the phone have gone through the roof. Through Lawrence Taylor, the great New York Giant, he stood up and he headlined a rally for Trump. He didn't get any pushback at all, just the opposite. There is a piece of our country that looks at Trump and says, he's a different guy and let's give him a shot.
There's a piece of the country that understands that.
Heads when they named Musk and follow entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy to lead a new department of government efficiency to tasks that they are not actually a government agency, but it is meant to shrink the federal government. And Trump has to take oath on 20